One day I'll get to come speak and Glenn Colley will be here one day. But so much has changed since I was here. When I came here last, most of my kids were about half my height. My oldest is 12. I'm about to have a teenager. Y'all pray for me this year. I'm about to have a teenager. He'll be 13 in September. I have an 8-year-old, and my baby Mason, he was in diapers when we came here last. He is a full-fledged terrorist now. He is the baby, he knows it. You know, we have so many changes in my family going on, and I've been a police officer I'm going on 20 years in policing. I got started when I was 18. I was fresh out of high school, straight into the pros. I had no idea what was going on. All I know is I wanted to chase bad guys. So that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. I've done everything from traffic enforcement, DUI enforcement. I was on the SWAT team for about 5 years. I became a school resource officer, worked in a high school, about 2,500 kids. And then they offered me a position that I have now. I'm now a narcotics canine handler, and that is the coolest job in the world. I can hands down say I have the funnest job in the world. I get to walk a dog for a living. So pretty much all I do is pull people over, and we take their drugs, and they go in the back of somebody else's car. I'm like, no drunk people going in the back of my car. So it's just me and my dog, and we just ride around for 12 hours. It's the best job in the world. A new thing in our life, relatively new, we bought a new washer and dryer. Yeah, so the cool kids are here, y'all don't know nothing about getting a new washer and dryer. You wait till you get your own house. When me and Lindsay got married, we had nothing. And I mean to tell you, we had nothing. When we got married 15 years ago, we bought our townhome. We had 2 pieces of furniture in there, a couch and a big screen TV. We had nothing. So we had to go buy our washer and dryer, and we were poor because we had no money because we just bought a house. So a few years ago, our old 1970s washer and dryer finally kicked the bucket, and we went to go buy a new washer and dryer. Of course, this was in the middle of COVID, so everybody else wanted a new washer and dryer. So we go to the Home Depot, and we walk in there, and I was like, I just want some cheap, it'll wash my clothes washer and dryer, because I'm the police and we're Po. So we go to the washer and dryer section, and I said, oh, perfect, right there, $200, that's what I need. Of course, you know what the salesman says? We ain't got those. I was like, all right, this $300 set, I'll take that one in. Sold out. I was like, what do you have? And of course, you know what he says? We got this $2,000 set right here. Of course, my wife, she's a little bougie. She likes the finer things. So if y'all know what bougie means, it means she likes the nice things in life. I'll keep y'all up to speed. So I'm not spending $2,000 on a washer and dryer. So we bought the washer and the dryer. The guy's telling me all the doodads about it, and our old washer and dryer, all it had was 3 knobs: hot, really hot, cottons, linens, and then on. Right, and that's all I needed. Now I tried to keep it simple. This thing's got all kinds of bells and whistles on this thing, and I noticed some tiny little symbol in the upper right-hand corner of my new washer and dryer. And I said, "Hey, salesman, what is that?" And he says, so you can connect it to your Wi-Fi. Why do I need to connect my washer and dryer to the Wi-Fi? Why? And he says, well, this washer and dryer comes with its own app. I said, why do I need an app for my washer and dryer? I throw the stuff in, dump the detergent, smack start, and I walk away. He goes, no, you're behind the times. You can put your wash in, and you can walk away. And when you're coming home from work, you go on the app, you hit start, your washer will start. Your washer will be clean when you get home. I said, I'm telling you right now, if I'm at home at night and my wife decides she's going to turn the washer and dryer on when she's not there, I'm going to put a 12-gauge slug right through that thing. I said, we don't play that in my house. Those Decepticons are not getting this guy. We ain't having nothing to do with that. We never downloaded the app. We didn't do anything like that. But man, technology is crazy, right? We turned on the television this morning, and I saw a commercial for a smart toilet. And I said, no, that's too far. I draw the line at smart toilets. That CIA, that's the devil. That's what that is. And sure enough, smart toilet, it comes with an app. I didn't believe it. We had to pull it up on the internet to see what this thing could do with an app. That's too much. That is too much. It's so incredible what you can do with a cell phone nowadays. The world is literally at your fingertips. If you want to learn a new language, there's an app for it. You want to habla some Espanol, there's an app for it. We go down to, I'm going down to Honduras in July with a mission group down there. So we Google Translate, that's my best friend. You know, if you want to learn about finance, maybe y'all were like me, my parents taught me nothing about money. All they told me was get a credit card and buy a house. That's what we did. If you want to learn personal finance like I did, there's an app for it. There's so many different ways you can learn about finance online. You can activate your phone and you don't even have to touch it. This whole Alexa thing and Siri, hey Siri. Some of y'all's phones may have just gone off. You know, your phone will tell you anything, you don't even have to touch it. That is wild to me. If you want to order a kilo of China's finest cocaine, all you need is your cell phone. We've had it happen. We get calls by the postal inspector all the time and go, hey, we intercepted this package. I go, what's in it? And they go, I think last one we had, it was like 10 pounds of marijuana. Came straight from overseas, right through the postal service. So we said, so they're like, what are we going to do? We're going to deliver it. So we deliver it, and as soon as they bring it into their house, Door Kickers Anonymous, ka-chow, here we come, right through the front door, locking people up. All the time, like, how did you order 10 pounds of marijuana from China? I said, it's simple. Just click a few buttons on my phone. If you want to download child pornography, all you need is your phone. I talked to one of my sex crimes detectives, and he was just kind of walking me through some of the stuff that he sees. And it will, I could sit up here all night and tell you horror stories about some stuff that he sees involving our youth. One of the things that he showed me are emojis, and how some people will order child pornography off the internet and all they'll use are emojis. If you don't know what the emojis are, it's like the cute little smiley face or the little man or the dog or the little police car. All those little pictures that you can put in text messages, those are emojis. But he showed me, he gave me a handout, and I was going to bring it with me, but if you want a copy of it, it's got about 2 pages of emojis and what some of the references could be, a little bit more information on internet sex crimes. For any of you parents out there, if you want it, just come see me, I'll email it to you. I was going to print out a whole bunch of copies, but as my dad says, it's got grown talk in it. Some of the emojis talk about the anatomy and what different emojis like that would mean, and a couple different things that you can do with your family to kind of help keep y'all safe, if you will. And side note, if I don't answer a question that y'all have tonight, if I don't cover something, please, I'll stay here all night if you want me to and talk to you about what we can do. But he showed me some of these emojis. One of the emojis is a little stalk of corn. If I asked you what does that little stalk of corn mean, would you have any idea other than food? I didn't either. In his investigations, he found that little picture of corn was a reference to pornography. Corn and porn. And I was like, that's creative. And I would have never known. I've been doing 20 years, would have never known that. How about a bowl of noodles? I'm Italian, I love noodles. Now, and he showed me this little bowl of noodles, and he said, "What if I sent you a bowl of noodles? What would you think it meant?" It's a reference to nude pictures. Noodles, nude. He showed me how he can go onto forums like Reddit, and all he's got to do is put in a couple of different of these emojis in a certain order, and he can order child porn off of Reddit. Wildest thing in the world. You would never know it if you didn't know what you were looking for. And so you can put like different type of emojis, and whatever your fetish is, you can get it just by having emojis. So if you want a copy of it, I'll be more than happy to email it to you. I have it on my phone. I'll just email it right to you. You'll have it tonight before you go home. There's an estimated 500,000 sexual predators online every day. Over half of their victims are between 12 and 14. That is mind-blowing to me. That our victims are so young. If you don't think the devil is after your children, you are sadly mistaken. He is coming, and he does not care. I watched an interview the other day of of a convicted child molester. It was on CNBC, and she was talking to him about, what do you look for in your victims? And the stuff he said just as a parent, makes my skin crawl. And he's looking for vulnerability. A vulnerable little child. He's looking for a kid who's got low self-esteem. And the way he looks for that is on their social media page. And he's not looking for the woe is me pictures. He's looking for revealing pictures. Pictures that give him clues that you might be susceptible to him. He's looking to see if you're vulnerable. And then he comes in and he does they call, he slides into DMs and tries to talk to him. And most of these profiles that he's looking at are completely open to the public. He's looking for, hear this one, this one's so important. He's looking for a father figure who does not appear to be a threat. Basically, a non-existent father. He's looking for those parents who are distracted. The preoccupied parents. We went to the Space Museum today, and we got to go and look at some of the really, really big rockets and stuff like that. And I am paranoid about my children. Like, you might be paranoid. I'm extremely paranoid. But my paranoia comes because I've had my family threatened on numerous occasions. I don't let my kids go anywhere by themselves, but that's because I know that there are legitimate people out there who would like nothing more than to kill my family. I've had young man I arrested. He lived right down the street from me, and I arrested him. It was on a simple misdemeanor. It wasn't really that big of a deal. And he told me point blank, he said, I know when you're home and when you're not. He said, I know when your wife is there and I know when you're not. And I about lost my mind. I'm just being real. The Christianity in me about went out the door, and me and him about started rolling around. But it is real. I arrested a young man who ran from me a few months ago. I caught him racing down the interstate. The chase was on, and it was like a scene out of Cops. Wee, wee, wee. And I ended up arresting him, toting him off. Of course, he's kind of running off at the mouth a little bit. I don't really think too much of it because it happens all the time. And about a week later, he finds me on Facebook and tells me how beautiful my wife and kids are. They're out there. That man was so bold to come find me on Facebook. So we had to go changing our names and stuff, make it a little bit more difficult for people to try to find us on Facebook. But they're out there. So I'm paranoid about my kids and my family. But we're at the Space Museum. And me and my wife, we people watch. Any people watchers here? You just sit there and just watch people go by. It might be the cop in me, I don't know. But we're sitting there, and our kids are playing on the little playground thing. And we look over, and a dad had a couple of his little daughters were running around, and he's sitting there on the bench, just like this. His kids could be running off. And we sat there, and we just sat there and watched him see how long it would take him to go looking for his daughter. He sat there for over 5 minutes and did not pick his nose up off his phone. That's what this child molester looks for. He's looking for parents who are oblivious to what their kids are doing. We talked right there. I said it would be so easy to just lure her away and snatch her and be gone. He would never know. It happens all the time. We see it a lot of times at our parks when we have missing juveniles. And they go, how many times do you hear it? I look down for just a second. I look up and kids, gone. They're like the road runner. You look down for 1 second, look up, and they're gone. So that's what this guy looks for in all of his victims. As parents, the kids that we have are on loan to us. God, you will be accountable for how you raise your kids. It's very difficult raising kids today. It is a scary environment. Don't get me wrong, it's difficult raising parents too. Will Smith said it best, parents just don't understand. And real with you, we don't have time. We grew up completely different. We didn't have all the technology. Most of the time when my dad got a new computer, who'd he ask to hook it up and program it for him? It was me. How many times y'all get a new cell phone, you hand it over to your kids, say, hey, program that for me. And they know how. We worked inside the school, and the teachers would expect you to have a cell phone because a lot of the stuff you would be doing was cell phone based. And like, download this app because we're going to use it in class. They would have different games that they would play in class. You had to have the cell phone. If you don't have a cell phone, you couldn't participate. These cell phones and technology are so ingrained into us that it's easy for us to remember a life without it, right? It's difficult for somebody who's under 20 to know that. They don't get it. There's so many things you and I have to be on the lookout for. A lot of the apps that are being used right now, I don't normally go over, is there an app that can protect your family? I normally don't recommend any because they might be really good today, tomorrow they're not. Because again, technology is completely changing. Every time you turn around, there's a new iPhone every year, there's a new Android every year, there's a new type of phone every single year. So I normally don't go over what apps you can put on your phone to protect you. The social media apps like Snapchat and Whisper, they basically put out the idea that when you send a picture, you put a post out, that the data disappears, right? That's kind of what they prided themselves on. We can uncover it. Our technology on the police side is super advanced. I got to work with the ATF the other night. We did a big warrant sweep and arrested a whole bunch of 1% motorcycle gang members, and we took all their phones and took all their drugs and all their guns and stuff, and we gave all the laptops and the cell phones to these really techie guys. And they got the Fed money, so they got the cool toys. And they got this whole system set up, and I was like, man, that is neat. I have no idea what it is, but it's neat. And they just plug it in, they start typing, they hit enter, and then whoop, pulls all the data off. And so all the stuff like Snapchat, where they think data is being destroyed, that you can never uncover those photos again. We can get it. They don't go away. Once it's out there, it's out there. If we don't have the right program for it, in Georgia we have a campus, an IT campus on the west coast around Macon, that we can take our cell phones to, and some really super like NASA genius guys, they can get into pretty much any phone. It takes about 6 months or so for the newest edition of a phone for them to be able to get into it. It used to be anything over an iPhone 7 we couldn't get into. But again, technology evolved, and we can get into all of it. There's apps you got to look out for where people are dating people. There's Tinder, Grindr. Ashley Mason has an app out. I don't know if y'all remember Ashley Mason, or Ashley Madison, I'm sorry. Ashley Madison became very popular by their slogan, "Life is short, have an affair." They prided themselves on married people meeting someone and having an affair with someone that they met on their website. Videos like YouTube and TikTok that are all algorithm based, different videos that you can watch. Parents, you can't turn a blind eye to these. It is so easy for your kids to just go down a rabbit hole, and the next thing you know, they might have started off watching some harmless cartoon, and the next thing you know, they're watching something that is completely inappropriate. It's happened several times at my house. Our kids cannot watch YouTube off by themselves anymore just because of this very reason. Again, I've been giving these seminars for years, and it happened right in front of my eyes. One of my kids was watching some harmless cartoon, and the next thing you know, he's watching something where like one cartoon animal is like ripping someone apart with a knife. I was like, oh, turn that on. You don't get to watch YouTube on your own anymore. You got to watch for some of the games that they're playing. The gaming industry has completely changed since when we were growing up. It used to be like you had to go to the game store, you had to go to GameStop or Walmart, you had to physically buy the game. Yeah, that's normally not what you do anymore. You can download it straight off the internet onto your Xbox. So if you have something like the Game Pass on Xbox, where you get a laundry list of games that you can play off the cloud, and you might as a parent have no idea what's being played in your child's room. I went scrolling through the Game Pass stuff the other day just to look at what games were on there. And there are some games on the Game Pass that have a whole lot of adult content. And it will blow your mind what some of these games have. You can't turn a blind eye to it. You have got to be watching. You've got to be involved. You got to be careful about cell phones in worship. I'm going to take a little side note on this one. This one will annoy me to no end. Is cell phones in a worship class or in a worship setting. So for starters, it is incredibly distracting. If you have a Bible app on your phone, I'm totally cool with it, as long as that's all you're using in a worship setting. Well, here's why I caution against using cell phones in worship. Because you might be sitting there going along, and you're hearing Glenn Colley, the man himself. He's up here, and he is getting it. And you're like, yes, it's an amazing lesson. And then you're following along, and then ding, you get a notification. Studies have shown that when you get that little ding or that notification, your brain releases a tiny little bit of dopamine. That's the little pleasure things in your brain. And if you're like me and you see a notification pop up, you can't ignore it. I'm the same way. If I see a text message pop up and I just see the little notification that I've got a text message, there's something in me, I got to see what it is. I strongly caution against using a cell phone in worship service. If you want to bring it, that's great. Turn your data off. My old boss used to say, you can get me at any time except for when I'm at worship, because he leaves his phone in the car. He said, that is me and Jesus time. He said, that is the only time if you haven't tried that, I strongly encourage you to do it. When I think of this, I think of Mark 11 at 15 through 17. In there, Jesus comes to the temple, and he sees all these money changers going on. And you remember what he does? He is livid. He is hot, y'all. And he starts flipping over tables. He starts running them out, beating them with whips. You know what I mean? Y'all remember that saying, what would Jesus do? Kind of remind people, flipping tables and beating people's whips wasn't out of the question sometimes. But he goes to the temple. This is supposed to be a temple, a place of worship or a place of reverence. And here you have these people in there that are doing this money changing thing and all types of stuff that had no business going on inside the temple. And I think, what would Jesus do if he came here to a worship assembly and he sat right behind you, and in the middle of worship service, you're scrolling through Facebook? One of the elders is chasing this rabbit again. This is boring. See what's going on Facebook. I remember we had a lady at a congregation that we went to once. She would let her son come in, and he would play on her phone during worship. He would let her lay on the ground, but she had no idea what he was doing. At this time, he was playing Grand Theft Auto. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that game, but that is a rough game. That is some adult stuff. Had no business playing it, especially at how young and impressionable he was. But she would just let him play on the ground with the cell phone, playing Grand Theft Auto right off her phone. And we had to have people go talk to her like that. Besides being disrespectful, it's also very distracting. What would Jesus think if he came in here and he would go and he sits behind you and you decide you want to watch some anime video? I've sat behind people who do it. We got to get up and move. I cannot sit here and worship knowing he or she is watching some YouTube video. I can't do it. It drives me completely bonkers. So that's why I encourage you, if you are coming to worship with your cell phone, leave it in your purse, leave it in your car, whatever. Go back and have an old school Bible. There's something about it when they say turn to this scripture and read that with me, that you actually flip the pages. There's something about that, to me at least, that makes worship feel a little bit more real. There's no distractions in here. I'm not going to get any type of notification from any of my friends when I'm reading black, white, and red. It's just going to be me and God. Y'all got to take this stuff seriously. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying we as a church have to take this stuff so seriously, because there are so many distractions, and a lot of them will come right through your cell phone. You have to be careful about what sites that your kids are visiting. If you're not checking your teenager's phone about what internet browser and what their history looks like, you better start. Pornography in the church is a huge problem. It's a big problem in our world. I know y'all had a slide up here. If you have a porn addiction, talk to one of your elders. That is great. That is amazing. If you're not taking advantage of that and you have a problem with it, I would encourage you to take advantage of that resource that you have right there. Now, when I last came here 6 years ago, pornography with teens and pornography with adults, it was a problem. Again, technology's changed. It's not just a problem of them watching it now. They're making it. I can't wrap my brain around that. Where I come from, it's almost a status symbol. about how teenagers make their own videos. I worked a case, or I didn't work, I took one of the initial reports for this case. Young lady, her and her boyfriend decided they were going to make a home video. While mom and dad were away, they went to go, they made their video because they were boyfriend and girlfriend and they were just in love. They were going to be together for forever. Y'all know any teenagers like that? So mom and dad come to us. They go, we got a problem. They made this video, and it wasn't like he made it without her knowing. They both agreed they were going to make this video. Well, as lovebirds normally do, they broke up. And as a spiteful ex-boyfriend he was, guess what he did? He uploaded that video to the nation's largest pornography website. And it was out there. That website does not go back and check the age or the location of any of the actors in the videos. Pornography is now almost like social media. You can create your own profile, you can upload your own videos, and you can make a whole lot of money off of it. And he uploaded that video onto the nation's largest pornography website. So the investigation starts, and we go on. It takes over a month for our little department to convince this pornography website to take the video down. A month of your little girl or your little boy online getting millions and millions of views doing something they had no business doing in the first place. As a parent, that makes me sick. Once you turn 18, you can create an account on OnlyFans. I don't know if y'all are familiar with OnlyFans. It came out right after I left here. OnlyFans is YouTube, but with explicit content. I know several young ladies, several young men that I worked with at the high school, that as soon as they graduated, they opened up their own OnlyFans account. And they link it to their Instagram account. So if you go on to some people's Instagram accounts and you start scrolling through, you start looking at their some of their pictures maybe, and they see that they're very almost X-rated, and you look at the bottom of their captions, they might have a Linktree account or a Linktree link. And all that really is you click on that and it sends you to their OnlyFans account. You only have to be 18 to open one of these up. One of my friends, when he unexpectedly passed away, his daughters were going through so much grief that her way out, or her way to try to get through this grief, was open up an OnlyFans account and start a life of pornography. That was her exit. We just recently had to deal with some middle schoolers who convinced a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, 6 and 8, to make a video. And they did it. You have got to be watching what's going on in your kid's life. That, again, that makes me hurl. That is disgusting. But they're out there, and they're recording it with their cell phones. 1 in 4 kids are going to receive, or are currently receiving, illicit photos. And I wasn't called here because the elders here believe that this is a problem in the West Huntsville family. But statistically speaking, 1 in 4 of your kids have received illicit photos. 1 in 7 are the ones themselves sending it. The average person, a person will see a pornographic image for the first time is somewhere around age 11. I don't know what you were doing at age 11, but when I was 11, that was the last thing on my mind. But again, we live in different times. When you and I were 11, you know where you went to go get those X-rated videos? It was at the movie store, but they were in the back. You had to go past the door that said 21 and up. There was a built-in deterrent because you didn't want to be that guy going in there and you come out with a video and you come out and, oh look, there's your preacher. There was a built-in deterrent. There are no deterrents built into our cell phones anymore. I met a young lady at one of our parks one night. I was patrolling around, it was raining, and at the very back of the park I could see the taillights of a Honda Civic. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. I know nobody should be there. So I go knock on the door, and window rolls down. It's a 20-year-old. What are you guys doing back here? They go, oh, we're just hanging out, talking, and they didn't have a whole lot of clothes on. So I pulled him out, and I said, how old is she? 18. I could look at her and go, she's not 18. I said, sweetie, how old are you? 13. 2 o'clock in the morning, 20-year-old is with a 13-year-old in the back of the park. We get to investigating it. This young lady met this man on Tinder. She had her own Tinder account. She put in a fake birth date, and that's how she got hooked up with him. Not only did she have that, when we downloaded her phone at the request of her dad, we found out she had subscriptions to about 4 or 5 pornographic websites. She was ordering women's lingerie off of Amazon, and she had been doing this for years. And you're like, Dad, Mom, where you at? They had no idea, completely clueless. They had no idea any of this was going on. You cannot sit idly by and just let your family have free reign of the internet, because you have no idea what they're doing. Last thing I want to talk about tonight is you have to watch about how much time you're spending on your cell phone. This is a problem. I'm preaching to me too. This little thing can be so much fun. Playing these little games. You have the infinite scroll on Facebook. Did you know that's by design? And the infinite scroll, it will never end. You're always going to see something new. It's designs like that keep you pulled into it. When we talk about how much time you are spending on your cell phone, studies are showing that people are preferring to be on their cell phone rather than have face-to-face communication with somebody. They call it a social isolation. So many people are starting to socially isolate themselves that they prefer to have conversations with their phone rather than having face-to-face communication. We're seeing that a lot in the police world because families now are losing the ability to communicate. Our domestic disputes are through the roof because nobody knows how to talk to each other. When was the last time you sat down at the family dinner table and there were no cell phones allowed? But you see it all the time when you go out to eat. You go down to the Longhorn Steakhouse or the Red Lobster, wherever you prefer to eat. Family of 4 sits down. What's everybody doing? They're all playing on their phones. We're getting to that point as a society where we would rather be on our phone than talk with our loved ones. And we wonder why our family is falling apart, why we don't have any clue what's going on. But this social isolation amongst young people, the National Institute of Health did a study, and they're finding that social isolation it may not be the leading cause, but it definitely has a strong correlation to suicide. Our teen suicides are through the roof. If you are not talking to your young person, to anybody in your family about self-harm or suicides, if you haven't had a Bible study about that, I would encourage you to do it. I have forgotten more than I remember how many young people I have picked up off the ground because they decided self-harm was going to be the answer. And you might think, well, I've just got little kids. How soon is too soon? The youngest one I've worked was 10. 10-year-old little girl, for whatever reason it was, decided to end her life. If you are not talking to them before they are teenagers, you are too late. I used to get calls all the time at our high school, and some of y'all could probably agree. How many times have y'all heard somebody in the hallway say, whatever, go kill yourself? I heard it every day. And they might be saying it in jest, but you don't know who you're saying that to. That person might be one bad word away from them going and doing it. We had so many people who were ending their life. Now, conversely to that, the National Institute of Health found that a strong social connection has the adverse effect. What do you mean? Having a strong social support system has an adverse effect to suicide rates. Those people they found that have a strong support system, have a strong family life, who spend quality family time together, who have strong bonds, they found that young people who have that, or people in general who have that, they are less likely to harm themselves. So that's what we're going to talk about on Saturday and Sunday. And this is supposed to be about technology, and I don't want to give you, these apps are going to keep you all safe. I don't want to give you that, because it goes deeper than that. Our families are more important than just putting an app on them saying, go, right? I don't want to give you an app that's going to be the be-all, end-all. I don't want you to put your faith in that that's what's going to keep your kids safe. I want to give you real stuff that you can do, practical stuff that you can do, stuff that you can look out for, stuff that you can encourage, and that's how you're going to filter out the devil. No app is going to keep your kids safe from the devil. It's not going to happen. That's why God didn't put an app in charge of your kids. He put you, because you're the best one. The reason why you're mom and dad, because you were the best one for it. You're in charge of them. So for our 9 o'clock lesson tomorrow, we're going to be talking about, we're going to use an old cell phone plan. And I'm going to show you how to build a strong support system from that. And then later on in our 1 o'clock service, we're going to talk about building really, really strong relationships. And that's how you filter out the devil. And that's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to kind of link it all in together around cell phones. So again, I may have touched on something that you were curious about and you want to know more about it, or I may have just completely blown over some stuff that you'd like to talk to me about. I'll stay here all night with you if you want me to. I have no plans except for giving those kids baths because they stink. Yeah. But if you want to talk about something, or if you want the slideshow handout, just come get with me. I'll email it to you, have it before you leave. Again, if I can be of any service to you, I'll be here. I'll be here tonight and I'll be here tomorrow. If you have any questions, please come and let me know. Let's pray.